decent in their games, although strength of schedule has been very different for these teams.
Yes.
TSM has had an incredibly front-loaded schedule, and Team Dignitas has had some of the easier matchups.
So here we have Team Dignitas in against one of their toughest opponents yet. You would assume, based on the roster and preseason power rankings, TSM first banned Elise, so Kirei will have to show success on a new jungler, as Kindred is, of course, disabled this week. Tom Kench away from BillyBoss. He will also have to play something new. Gangplank continues his throne as 100% pick ban. Rise gone as well, and no Fior for Hauntzer, but of course that Poppy is still up.
So really just kind of banning the high percentage pick bans on the side of Team Dignitas, but based on yesterday, Graves was banned 4 times and then played in the top lane once by RF Legendary. It did lose, but the fact that Graves has gone from about 30% pick ban in North America in Week 1 to 100% pick ban in Week 2 means there were a lot of teams having success with it in scrims, and Team Solomid picks it up first, as to be expected this week.
And meanwhile, Team Dignitas rushed their picks in as fast as humanly possible. Alistar already locked in for KiWiKid. Seems like his very best champion is this Alistar. Kirei gets Rek'Sai, so there's his third jungler, and look at that, TSM got the Poppy again.
Yeah, I love it when picks and bans go fast. First game of the day, these guys had all night and obviously the week to prep for each other. We knew the bans came through, and then they knew exactly what type of picks they'd throw in after this. It's probably going to be the jungle Graves at this point, which makes the AD carry Corki an easier decision for them, honestly. Corki doing about 3/4 to 80% of the damage as magic damage, and immediately TSM has a solid damage split, making it non-trivial to itemize against.
Absolutely true. I think these are probably the 3 best champions you can start a draft with if you're blue side here.
Really?
Graves, so I think it's hard to, well, it's debatable of course, but I think
of the best. You're not making any mistakes by picking these 3.
Yeah, I think this could literally be the 3 best, but Poppy is a great solo laner, great split pusher, probably a good support as well. So she wins a lot of her one-on-one matchups, and is a great defensive tank, because you can stop the engage on your backline here. So, like, almost better than Gianna, because you can't screw it up, really. Can keep the double marksman alive. So, theoretically, this could be one of, if not the best first 3 picks. It's a debate for another time. Either way, Dignitas, of course, picked their champions. Gnar for the top lane matchup against Poppy, as well as now an Ezreal flex pick between Shiphtur and Apollo.
Yeah, I'll need to find some type of... they need a very tanky support for YellowStar, I feel like. And it'll be interesting to see what kind of mid laner TSM pulls together at the end there, because they will be having to pick that mid laner blind. I'm thinking that the Ezreal, even though it could go mid for Shiphtur, will be a pick for Apollo. It's a champion he's had a lot of success with so far, and they're building up a pretty tanky team, which means they're looking for extended team fights, and that's where the blue build Ezreal would excel pretty well.
Okay, so more damage coming out. Another defensive tank support for TSM, as the YellowStar is going to be playing on Braum. That means it is definitely top lane Poppy here. Graves will be going into the jungle, and we're going to have another mid lane Syndra here for Bjergsen. So more magic damage, another big backliner who does have some pushback potential. So TSM really relying on that backline staying alive.
And he's looking for some lane domination with that pick. That is one of the big things that TSM has put together, is just a very potent wave clear in 2 of their lanes. Poppy will take a little while to push up, so maybe we see more jungle pressure up there. There's also a chance you could see a jungle Poppy and a top lane Graves if they really just wanted to shove every lane really quickly. That is a configuration that can work, and we've seen play in competitive with those champions in those roles before.
That's a very good point. I didn't really think about that. Those 2 can definitely switch back and forth, though Hauntzer so far has been the Poppy player of the 2, but we will see. The last pick for Team Dignitas has come through as Lux in the mid, so 2 blonde carries coming through basically as far as the champions are concerned for Team Dignitas. It matches the team colors. I like the synergy there, guys, very much. It's going to be interesting to see, though. Again, Poppy's such a good peeler. You're looking at both Gnar and Rek'Sai and Alistar, so the 3 of those actually, not both, but have to dash forward to get into range to land their engage tools. Poppy again can peel those back, and so 2 poke champions coming through. Lux and Ezreal can deal damage from afar.
Yeah, watching the Poppy game yesterday from Hauntzer, he had 1 team fight where he was able to knock 2 people far back in the fight. Elsewhere, he was actually using his in-fight crowd control to line up his wall stuns, which can still be effective. Hauntzer's Poppy was one of the most solid things we saw about TSM. And I actually really like the Lux pick for Shiphtur. It fits his laid-back play style in the mid lane, and it's also a good matchup against Syndra, because it is one of those champions who can definitely keep her distance since Syndra has kill pressure against most other mids.
Yeah, you can wave clear from afar. It's going to be a fun one to watch for, guys. You at home, as always, are part of the show. Tweet at LOL Esports. Use hashtag TSM winner, hashtag DIG win. Let us know who's going to take this one. But this is going to be a very fun match. TSM sitting at 1-2, not the start they wanted. Meanwhile, Team Dignitas 2-1 so far. A replacement top laner here. They had wanted to put Billy in. That was the choice of the team, more so than a requirement of them. And Dignitas think this could be the roster that leads them to further success as they approach maybe 3-1 with a win here.
Yeah, and BillyBoss did pick up the win yesterday on his Tahm Kench, but he didn't necessarily look that comfortable in his seat. He had one very bad teleport in the mid lane where he basically could have walked to his teleport location faster. That is a situation that happens when you're not paying enough attention to where you are on the map, and you know you need to get to a fight immediately, so you just teleport thinking that's going to get you there faster. Everyone has done it at some point in their lives that they bring teleport. You just don't expect it to happen in a professional game.
Absolutely true.
And it happens when you're just not comfortable with your environment. So I think there is still a lot of growing for BillyBoss to do as he gets more time working towards it.
And that 1-1 matchup might be influenced by the junglers, and we actually caught up with Kirei, and he says that he and Svenskeren have a similar approach to jungling.
Well, Svenskeren and me are pretty similar, I think. Besides that, he plays Lee Sin and I don't. We both like to invade the enemy jungle and look for like the jungler maybe to kill. And I think our styles are pretty similar, so I'm looking forward to how it will go against each other.
And styles similar or not, their champions will actually maybe promote a somewhat different style here. Graves, a marksman carry jungler, though plenty of early game power, of course. And Kirei can jump over basically any single wall in Summoner's Rift here on this Rek'Sai and put a lot of pressure down. And we'll see if he can affect some of these matchups strongly.
Yeah, they both bring the refillable potion as well, which actually hasn't been that common amongst junglers. These are two junglers that can handle it, though. I want to pay attention to how well Svenskeren kites the jungle camps with Graves and how heavily his jungle could be disrupted, because right now, Apollo and KiWiKid are looking for a steal. Svenskeren saved his smite, though, so it's no problem with him getting level 2. And honestly, Team Dignitas need to go back to their lane to get some farm.
It's a good optimization. Oh, okay. Good block right there. No steal from YellowStar's Q. The little bits of the blue are already gone. And as long as he doesn't outsmite, well, I guess smite is down, but either way, as long as he doesn't outlast hit, all should be well here.
Yeah.
BillyBoss is on zoning duty, and Kirei will get this blue buff without much problem.
Gets back, shares a little bit of the experience, but obviously Kirei getting the majority of it. Hauntzer should be hitting level 2 here if they've shared all of blue buff and all of wolves with him, since Svenskeren got all of the Gromp. He does not, so that means Svenskeren took some experience without Hauntzer being in range. Really minor things right here, though. Svenskeren not taking any damage in the jungle as expected from Graves.
Yeah, if Gromp was solo, then Hauntzer wouldn't hit level 2 off 2 camps because a single camp is no longer enough for level 2 on a non-jungler.
Oh, right, because the bonus experience
it screwed with me too.
You're right.
But yeah, solo Gromp XP allows one to be level 2 because it just screws your breakpoints otherwise. So, all right. Good to see how that goes. KiWiKid takes a turret shot to land a pulverize, which gets some damage on these minions. Takes another turret shot as his team shows up. Now, Kirei is still juggling, so it's only 3 pushing this turret down. Should still be enough people to be successful here.
Yep, it's mimicked. So Svenskeren will be power farming a little bit with Kirei. Graves has the potential to farm much faster than Rek'Sai, even though Rek'Sai is one of the faster farming junglers. And Svenskeren with double buffs and full health, looking to go make a play.
Of course, he's got stuns in many of these lanes. Hauntzer can stun, YellowStar can stun, and Bjergsen can stun. So the CC is there for a later time Graves gank. Kirei now going into the side of the jungle. Sees that Gromp is back up and may just try to steal that. Also ensures that no one is defending that turret and no XP will go over to Hauntzer unwarranted.
Yeah, so no mistakes happening in the early game here. We haven't seen the early first bloods. TSM's been first blooded in all 3 of their games so far. Hauntzer's able to bounce that wave.
Yeah, that'll be a successful freeze.
Yeah.
And he's going to sit there and absorb XP. Doesn't want to recall anytime sooner. And so he can just sit there getting safe last hits. Dignitas, though, however, by having to take this one wave later, will not be able to fully clear this wave up. This actually will be a freeze for TSM.
Yeah, if they want it. This is always the question.
Yeah.
The thing is, BillyBoss is sticking around to try and shove it up. This may end up burning.
You can hop off YellowStar.
Yeah,
should.
just hop over him.
Yep. An auto attack.
Poor little YellowStar.
Well. You can't really stop that, though. Not much of his fault there. It's just the mechanics of the champion. BillyBoss seemed to know he was safe, and all is well.
looking
All
at
these make sense.
Yeah, I like the strength of Aegis specifically on Rek'Sai. I actually like that on the majority of junglers who need to take hits nowadays, because if you get the 300 health stacked up by mid-game, and just gold efficiency-wise, that's when you need to be powerful as a jungler. So it's my personal favorite on pretty much most junglers that I play right now.
Yeah, Strength of Aegis, as far as selfish tankiness, is the best Keystone mastery. Supports are still taking Bond of Stone, because even though it's not as good as Strength of Aegis selfishly, you're still giving your AD carry 6% damage reduction by absorbing their damage, and that, as deemed by pros, is worth it for them. Thunderlords for most of the damage dealers. AD carries, even champions like Corki, I'm still seeing 50-50 that or Fervor of Battle, so we're seeing about 6 Thunderlords this game. It's really up to taste.
Here we go. There's Svenskeren. They didn't...
He gets the stun on Sven, at least. Has to quick draw away. Level 4 on him. One more stack of Hyper will deal a bunch of damage. Looks like Billy does manage to trigger it. Bit of a trade. TSM, though, right now up in gold pretty significantly off a farm lead.
Yeah, most of the moves have been mimicked in this game, but TSM has been able to get more minions throughout that. A lot of that just has to do with the way the waves were managed. BillyBoss didn't get his wave over in the top lane, whereas Hauntzer was able to bounce the wave in the bottom lane. And that's the majority of the gold difference we're seeing so far.
And Hauntzer willing to take that damage because he had not yet recalled and teleported yet, so taking 200 damage to last hit one more minion won't really be penalized here. A safe recall for him. He's going to choose what lane he wants to go to, as DoubleLift is heading to the bottom lane to fight Apollo 1v1.
Yeah, no big experience advantages, though, for DoubleLift. He does have a Phage versus a Tier, so if they were to fight, he would most likely be in favor of DoubleLift. But Apollo knows he has a minute advantage, and as long as he's poking those Qs from out of range, it's all good. Again, YellowStar just kind of taking the long road round, but not getting anything done with it.
And of course, that turret was already dead, so we got to run around the long way. And Apollo, good job realizing that he was unsafe on that side of the map. Went around towards the river. Kirei should be having no problems getting the scuttle here. 300 gold difference. Pretty much all said and done. Things are close to equal, except for this mid lane. It is advantage Bjergsen. Typical to what he was doing all last year, and somewhat typical to Shiphtur as well. Bjergsen winning in the CS game. And that's where the major lead is right now for TSM. Yeah,
it looks like both the mid laners are going for Frost Queen's claim as well, so they're both kind of able to one-shot each other if they get the right CC off, since there's not much mana that's being built up. Svenskeren has mind-gamed Kirei a bit, but he is still Rek'Sai.
And none of them can really stop me. He might have to burn the flash, though. Gets the knock-up on a YellowStar. The auto-attacks aren't landing just yet, and he will get away without burning a summoner. Good by Kirei to realize.
Great timing on the knock-up from Kirei there. Most of the time when people unburrow, you kind of train it as a Rek'Sai player to just right-click on someone and wait for the auto-attack, so you're always in range and get the right knock-up for the unburrow. But during the retreat, Kirei actually unburrowed and canceled YellowStar's auto-attack animation, which stopped the stacking of the Braum passive.
Trade of spells right there. Hauntzer, thanks to getting a turret shot, almost wins that trade, but BillyBoss...
He wants to keep going because he's turning mini.
And he's got 2 teammates coming up, though. Hauntzer with Svenskeren and Bjergsen joining the team. Of course, they are spotted here, but the Danes are coming to make sure Hauntzer gets this kill. And finally, TSM can get their own kill in the top lane, and Hauntzer, first blood.
The tables have turned for TSM. The curse of first blood is broken for this year. Hauntzer. And the understanding of him on Poppy right here, very capable of finding the wall stun, knowing his limits, knowing he can go in with a level disadvantage against BillyBoss's Gnar. And even though Bjergsen came in at the end of that, most of the work there was done by Hauntzer.
Well, nicely done by TSM. The early game definitely in their favor. 1,100 gold, a swift recall by Bjergsen after getting that blue buff, and the wave clear in the mid lane. Really nothing punished by that. He's still up 4 CS despite leaving his lane for a full wave. Sven still just running through the jungle as best he can. Neither jungler has actually been part of any kills just yet. Svenskeren wasn't needed for that earlier gank in the top lane. Kirei just builds his tunnel network and kills what he can.
And you're seeing Svenskeren already building up the double longsword instead of completing his smite item early. That is somewhat common on jungle graves because you just want the AD to clear faster. However, it does mean the vision control for TSM will be a little bit behind Team Dignitas.
That's going to be the flash burn. Spooky Ghosts into Rek'Sai tunneling forward. Bjergsen had to flash to stay alive there. Looks like he didn't have the cooldowns available to knock away the Rek'Sai. Speaking of that, KiWiKid landing a combo on a DoubleLift, who I believe did take some true shot barrage damage, but otherwise is fine. YellowStar now looking for Apollo. will not find anything useful, though, unless he's got teammates coming. And there, in fact, are the teammates. KiWiKid at level 6. And as you say, no turret. Hauntzer is here. KiWiKid down to 1/4 health. Svenskeren and Kirei find each other inside the jungle, and YellowStar goes right in. Kirei forced to flash out. Now Sven ignited, taking damage from Apollo. Where's the rest of the team? BillyBoss staying alive for now, but Shiphtur picks up 1 kill, and it's a 1-for-1 as a top laner has died for the jungler. Apollo still on the run out. And as everyone shows up, TSM have map control.
Like you say, at the end of the day, that is a 1v1 with a 5v5 erupting in the bottom lane, but the timing of that play was kind of desynced. You're thinking, okay, the only reason YellowStar would be this aggressive is if someone is coming. And then about 2 or 3 seconds later, we saw the teleport come in. Why is the teleport not synchronized with YellowStar's aggression? It's like he's making a call, and then a few seconds later, it's being executed. If TSM wants that to be clean, it all has to happen in synchrony. So still a kind of a clear display of not being quite in sync, but at the end of the day, a sound call, because they still get a 1-for-1 despite being desynced.
Yeah, just to underline the point, you pretty much want TP to start. That animation is there the second the Alistar or the Braum starts going in. So you can't react to either one before the other one was going to happen anyway. Small desync, 1-for-1, all said and done. 1,300 gold lead for TSM. Again, a lot of this being the mid lane matchup, but also now Hauntzer in a small lead as well. Not to mention that first blood gold that was handed out just a few minutes ago to Hauntzer himself. DoubleLift has picked up the package this time around. Now it is a, I believe, 5-minute cooldown. After picking it up, you can leave it on the field for as long as you want, but then you only get 1 minute to use it once you finally recall. DoubleLift off that bot lane fight picked up Sheen and Boots, got the package, and does not find anything to do with it just yet. And also this rotation, TSM just missing a double wave in the bot lane. DoubleLift does run pretty fast thanks to the package, but missed a cannon and 5 melee minions.
Yeah, so not the ideal place for DoubleLift. He hates to miss even a single CS. But he's still going to be able to continue to farm up. And TSM, just based on slightly better wave manipulation in the top lane, has been able to pick up this early game lead. Slightly better farming in the mid lane. Syndra should have a lane advantage over Lux. And Shiphtur has kept up quite well with Syndra considering the matchup, especially since Shiphtur was a player who last year was down in almost every matchup. This is a matchup he's supposed to be down in. And I'd say if I graded it by the matchup, Lux would be quote-unquote winning this
compared to the average.
I think Lux should be down more against, especially Bjergsen Syndra 12 minutes in.
Fair point. So Dignitas then holding up to a pretty good standard then, one might say, and we can see just how much more Shiphtur can do in this game. Easy wave here, noticing that Bjergsen is not trying to punish the last hitting. He's actually allowing Shiphtur to get all of this, and instead Bjergsen walks around to check for pink wards, get his own trinket wards down, and then show up later.
And as long as Bjergsen's flash is down against a Frost Queen's Claim, Lux, and a Rek'Sai, he can play aggressively, which I think is why Shiphtur's been able to keep up in this lead so well, because they were able to burn the flash once he had the Frost Queens there. That threat is always there, and it's what's allowing Shiphtur to farm so safely.
And it means everything goes equal right now. Still 1,400 gold remains the difference between the two. We wait for the next big play to happen. YellowStar will get spotted. Takes a bit of damage by Kirei, but the rest of the team, Dignitas, not really in a position to capitalize, so YellowStar able to walk away safely, and wait for the teammates to continue earning their gold. Svenskeren taking like the longest kill on Scuttlecrab I've seen in a while. He was fighting that like 30 seconds ago. But it goes down, he gets his 90 gold, and we can move on. Team Dignitas have to be afraid of the fact that their blue buff is now getting stolen away, and the bot lane is starting to show up as well. Kirei trying to fight for this, and YellowStar already taking some damage, still only level 5, but look at that, a double stun, and here they go! Kirei goes down, 3-1 TSM.
Such a strong stun right there onto Kirei, who just didn't have the backup of Shiphtur, and Bjergsen had won the rotation there. The way the mid lane farming pattern is going is Bjergsen's getting the wave out first and Shiphtur is getting the wave out second, meaning Bjergsen could go over there once his wave was cleared, which this time was synced well with the invade. You want your team to be able to back you up when you make an aggressive play like that, and that's ultimately what granted them the kill on the blue buff.
Beautiful stuff then, TSM getting there first and making it all work properly. BillyBoss and Hauntzer still in a battle. You're seeing 19 minutes the advantage of Hauntzer. Has been slowly growing over time, although there is half a wave to clear still. Hauntzer's gonna back.
Yeah, just the blue buff getting pulled out and then Team Dignitas pushing so far forward. And also, just in general, fighting in the jungle against Graves is exactly where Graves wants to fight you. The way his Q works has a long delay when he shoots it out before it will explode backwards and do the majority of his damage. But if it hits a wall, which, by the way, is almost impossible to not do in the jungle, it will jump back immediately. So all Svenskeren has to do is just point his cursor at someone, press Q and R, and more than half their health is gone at this stage in the game.
And just to illustrate a couple things that happened there, Bjergsen got the blue buff. Kirei landed the smite about a quarter second before dying to Bjergsen's ultimate, so the blue buff steal ended up going to the right people. This results in DoubleLift running to the top lane, getting his own blue buff, or his team's blue buff in air quotes, and 2 blues on TSM. And pressuring the top lane now.
An even bigger win for them right there. Again, though, I don't necessarily agree with Svenskeren going Chilling Smite on Graves. I feel like Tracker's Knife is easily the best smite for Graves, since he's going to benefit very minorly from having a damaging smite, and would benefit much more from having 2 extra wards every time he goes back to base. But Svenskeren likes to play aggressive, and maybe he's just going to move to the lanes and try and shove down this advantage with more combat stats. That looks like TSM's play, at least for now.
And in they go. Top lane getting attacked right there, down below half HP, and there's really no chance that TSM don't get this turret here. Poppy already in the bottom lane. Hauntzer's pushed that basically up to the tier 2 turret already. Dignitas always, it seems, slow to the call here. 1 dragon to 0, 2 turrets to 1. Lanes pressured basically everywhere. And now Kirei in danger. Has to flash to get away from Scatter the Meek. The Weak, rather. And now KiWiKid's going to have to ult to not die, but he still might go down. It's going to be enough with the Ignite. He will drop. Now some damage comes through from Shiphtur, but Hauntzer is there for the knockup. Into the damage, into the execution. Bjergsen 2-0 and 3, and TSM getting farther and farther ahead.
Things are all falling apart right there for Team Dignitas, getting caught in the jungle, and despite Shiphtur's best efforts to turn it around, he is caught by Hauntzer making a roam up and is just going from bad to worse here.
It is getting worse. Kirei now forced to run away from the Glacial Fissure, not going to stop him. DoubleLift takes him out easily. BillyBoss also a TP to save a teammate, but only comes in to die. Another 2 kills for nothing. TSM getting farther and farther and farther ahead.
Yeah, sometimes everything falls apart at once. This time it seemed like every member of Team Dignitas, except for Apollo, died within about a 1.5-minute period because TSM was constantly taking one advantage and moving it into the next one. And instead of just conceding it and cutting your losses, Team Dignitas kept going back for a play. For instance, right here, KiWiKid had burned his ultimate and had his flash up. If he just would have flashed clean away, he probably lives because TSM's not going to burn flash and Ignite to save him. But he tries to turn it around because he had Shiphtur up the backside, but they weren't accounting for Hauntzer in the end of that play. Then Kirei goes around the wall, but YellowStar does have his ultimate because he just hit level 6. And that was honestly a very well-placed ultimate by YellowStar, even though it didn't get the knockup because it cut off the retreat path. And then BillyBoss doesn't need to go into that turret to ultimate because he's not going to save it anyway. So just a bunch of decisions by Team Dignitas all in a row where they were trying to salvage a bad situation, and in doing so, they made it worse.
It has just been really falling apart for them now. 6,000 gold puts TSM ahead. Only 17 minutes in. Definitely a sizable lead here at this point. It will require quite a bit of effort for Team Dignitas to get back into this one. The fan vote closer than the Renegades one, actually. But right now, I don't think Team Dignitas will be the 22% in this one. It's looking pretty difficult for this squad here. We'll see. Rift Herald going to be going down just a few minutes before Baron would spawn. Kill credit goes to Svenskeren. He's going to grab the buff as well, and we'll see what gets pushed next. DoubleLift clears the minion wave out with the special delivery package, and top lane tier 2, not long for the world.
Yeah, tons of pressure coming through for Team Solomid right now. Very, very high AD numbers on the Junk Graves. Has amplified damage from Doom's E, which is the name of the buff he picked up from Rift Herald. And until Shiphtur rotates over, they don't need to stop that push. But really, they're just going for the second wave of turrets very early on into the game right now, only 18 minutes. Looking like it's going to be very one-sided for TSM.
Absolutely the case here. Before 20 minutes, and they're already crushing so much of this game. Svenskeren constantly being put in a spot where they can push the minion waves in. So localized Baron buff, and he's all the way over to the bot lane tier 2 already. Making the roam. The wave is joining him in a second, but right now it looks like it's just farm. TSM playing it a little bit more slowly, not pushing too incredibly quickly. Of course, when you are ahead like this, you're constantly filling your pockets with gold, and you want to buy before it's too late. So plenty of time being spent recalling, filling their inventories, and making sure that they've accrued their advantage to maybe fight for the next dragon or something.
Kirei would like to get in position for the next dragon now that he's picked up an Aegis of Legion. But that small stat boost of a 10 magic resist aura will not do very much to make up for the 8,000 gold they're down. We mentioned before the game that Kirei has shown a really high influence over the game when he's playing Elise, but then his Kindred game, and then now this game, showed a much lower level of influence. So far the Elise storyline will play true. And only for the Kirei with one with on the LCS stage.
It's Dignitas' version of high.
Let's not
sorry.
crazy.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
Yeah, that is inexplicable. This one is just...
This one as well as his best champion. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Well, Team Dignitas are posturing up for this dragon. They started it down to 4,000 health. They are here and ready to fight. Poppy's still in the top lane, and Syndra's still in mid, and TSM going to give this up to push in for an inhibitor turret, in fact. So, no contest on dragon. It will mean at least tier 2 mid. The rest should be defensible, I believe, by Team Dignitas.
Perhaps, but Hauntzer's getting work done on that top turret, and BillyBoss doesn't really want to go in. If they break the inhibitor wall, who cares about trying to stack up for 5 dragons? TSM's going for an earlier win.
Hauntzer pulls Zago for a bit, but quite a bit of damage coming out from Bjergsen. Next wave is coming, and Kirei actually getting his recall stop. Has to flash to get away from DoubleLift. So a loss of summoners there.
And KiWiKid is still just kind of meandering around down.
Oh, wow.
Oh, dear. Yeah, this should be the inhibitor going down, just based on the later recall timings and now the dead tank.
And even YellowStar could like walk up and auto attack, then it would die with backdoor bonus on. So I feel like TSM don't have much they have to do until the inhibitors are available.
Shiphtur can still ult the next wave if he chooses.
QE.
Or just use 2 spells.
It killed most of the way, but yeah, that turret is much too low. Backdoor bonus removed by the minions being close enough. And now onto the inhibitor. Still no BillyBoss. Gnar is respawning in 5 seconds. TSM sizably ahead. And again, they're playing it a little bit patiently. They're really not overcommitting for the siege. They're happy to back up and buy, or to back up and take minion camps, grab a red buff, then a recall. It's a very measured approach by TSM.
And that's the main thing. Even though the gold lead is showing is 10,000, there was over 1,500 gold on pretty much every person on TSM before that recall. So they're going back and buying some really big ticket items, spending that advantage. And then they'll either go back for the one exposed middle tier turret that is on Dignitas' bottom lane, or they will go for the open middle inhibitor. At this point, this is one of the larger leads we've seen at 21 minutes so far in the North American season here.
Yeah.
Best 21 minutes TSM has played thus far this season, and they're looking to close this out and kind of show their superstar roster for what it is. This is the types of games that TSM was wanting to have when the season started.
Yeah, absolute control from the beginning, and then closing it out cleanly. You can't fault them for it not being 18 minutes. That's nearly impossible to do. Only happened a couple of times.
Immortals could do that.
Yeah, only Immortals could win in 18 minutes. But no, honestly, it is still a very, very good game by TSM. Nothing to take away from them at all. It's been solid. Hauntzer had one nice roam. People were criticizing Bjergsen's roaming yesterday after their loss and saying, you know, we don't see him run around the map nearly as much as before. Well, he got first blood for Hauntzer this game. Yeah. So lots of things are shoring up for TSM so far. Team Dignitas looking like a 2-2 end of the week unless they can pull out a minor miracle and salvage this game soon before their base just blows up.
Yeah, they technically do have the power spike from Apollo with Mermana and Iceborne completed, but it would be tricky, and you need a perfect initiation, which that was not. Look at how far back Gnar is teleporting. This is...
But look at the damage. Summoner heal forced to keep DoubleLift alive, nearly tagged, and nearly goes down.
Gnar's back there.
Svenskeren is low. Here comes BillyBoss. He's actually back to mini, but how far can DoubleLift really even go? They're trying to pick up these kills. They haven't got anything just yet. Poppy knocked down bot lane tier 2. Now she's TPing in. Team Dignitas, though, do not have the damage, and in comes Hauntzer. He wants Shiphtur. That's the target of this fight, a big AoE shield, but here comes the re-engage. It's 1, it's 2, they're looking for 3. BillyBoss has nowhere to go. Apollo running slowed, exhausted, hit by the frost, and it's going to be 4 kills now in this battle. A triple for Bjergsen, 12-1. Team Dignitas almost got the way back in, but couldn't quite make it happen.
Yeah, a nice extend there of the fight by TSM. They knew they had the big lead, so they could stay aggressive even though they were falling back. DoubleLift is barely saved, and now they're just going hard.
Oh no!
Hey.
Can't be a TSM game without top laner dying at some point. Sorry, Hauntzer.
He took one for the team. They got the turret, and they did damage.
Great.
So congratulations.
Well, all right. 1 casualty at the end of it all. But still, mid lane inhibitor turret is gone. Top lane inhibitor is gone. They got a 4-for-1 fight just now. TSM have grown their lead.
Yeah, huge lead. 505 on Bjergsen is somewhat terrifying. Also, when you consider that there's the Graves who can burst on the AD carry role as well. Bjergsen will be working on a death cap as his final item. I don't think we'll end up getting there, though, because I'm actually expecting TSM to win this push. This is the extended version of that teleport, and here Hauntzer immediately closes the distance with the dash, and he uses the knock-up from his ult as a CC there because he knew TSM just needed a little bit of time to close in with the stun from Bjergsen. Hauntzer just so clutch on Poppy. He looks very, very at home on that champion, despite it being a very recent rework. That's one of the main reasons TSM talked about when they picked up Hauntzer was the versatility he displayed on Gravity last split, being able to very quickly adapt to the meta, and he's shown it here as one of the only top lane Poppies in North America.
Yeah, Hauntzer was one of the only AP echoes last year as well. Like, the guy definitely played a lot of different styles between the tanks and the carries. Poppy is both, so he's doing great for his sake right here. And 3-1 and 5 doing just well for himself. Mid lane now the target, as it's a turretless inhibitor. As you mentioned, TSM likely winning before Bjergsen can finish his death cap. That means it should be on this push. They can land the things they need. Dignitas do have a few ways of poking. Pretty much everyone except Alistar has some long-range Q skill shot. BillyBoss taking quite a bit of damage, forced to hop away, but that means no engage tools. KiWiKid goes in to stun Svenskeren, but that means that TSM are now safe to push in. There's no one to be afraid of Alistar anymore. Svenskeren dropped low, but he will still stay alive. Has the Maw of Mortius. That gets popped now as well. KiWiKid walking forward, finding nothing, and that minion wave goes down, as does the inhibitor. TSM with 2 inhibs down.
Svenskeren, though, does have to recall, which is going to delay TSM a little bit. I think they would have liked to rotate down to the final inhibitor turret, but they will need to take a slight detour to drag and clear up some jungle. Don't know if I see them recalling entirely before making that next push. They might just be healing up, since the golden inventory is still under 1,000 for most people.
Yeah, very few can actually finish an item that would be meaningful.
But they're going for the recall. Slow and steady. No, DoubleLift wants to recall. Come on, guys, make the same call.
I mean, he's 1-0-1. It's not like he's really doing much for the team anyway. His KPs.
You know, I was going to bring it up in like a friendly way.
I didn't even mean it as like a complete diss. I'm just...
They have 12 kills.
Yeah.
And he's been involved in 2 of them.
That's 1/6,
Not
Jatt.
the highest percentage, yeah.
Yeah. 16.666 repeating.
Not a very high percentage of kills.
No.
Most people around 70.
Yeah.
But that is across a large number of games. And this game in particular, DoubleLift keeps getting chunked at the beginnings of fights, which isn't like, that doesn't get him off free. He's an AD carry. He shouldn't be getting chunked at the beginning of fights.
Yeah, Wild Turtle.
It actually has been a bad game for DoubleLift in comparison to the rest of TSM. I actually doubt you will find many games where an AD carry has a 1 in 6 kill participation and the team wins. It's actually probably very, very rare.
Yeah, it's true. But the rest of TSM...
He's going to pick up some kills in this last fight.
I think it's almost a guarantee here. TSM looking for that final inhibitor to take down. Instead of riding the supers in for the Nexus, they're going for inhib number 3. They feel like this is the right choice for them. Walking through a bit of a choke point, though. They are getting poked out. However, the minions are starting to flood into the Team Dignitas base. So this next wave is going to be the interesting one, as people are going to have to pull off. You can see them pulling the supers towards this turret. They're going to knock this one down. It's great. They don't even need the bot lane wave. They can use the mid lane wave. Meanwhile, top lane wave also knocking the turrets down, and they're nearly gone as well. TSM probably could have ridden that wave in and knocked down that turret, but they are staying on the bottom side right here.
Yeah, they just need to wait for them to continue to arrive, because it's one very weakened Nexus turret. And if this fight just extended, the minions would actually end the game. So Team Dignitas playing against a lot of odds here.
And now at this point, TSM actually choosing to fight against a turret when they don't have to. I feel like bot lane is not really the right choice anymore. And they are finally switching over to the mid lane, but only as the supers are already getting cleared out, looking for their ways to poke in. TSM, can they find a bit of a stun? Kirei, melee range with Svenskeren. That's going to be dangerous for both these guys, really. BillyBoss now chunked too quickly to do anything. Kirei, the next kill as well, 2-0. Out goes Apollo, sent right back to the fountain. He goes down as the 3rd kill comes through on a Shiphtur. KiWiKid now forced to flash and get away off the ultimate, but that's going to be enough for TSM. And like clockwork, it only took 28.5 minutes. TSM tying Dignitas 2-2.
Yeah, so when all is said and done, TSM can go home as 2-2. They would have liked to start better, but it's still only 2 losses, and this is the best Team Dignitas has looked, despite DoubleLift only being involved in 4 of the 15 kills. Poor guy. By far the lowest kill participation on the team. They still look pretty happy after that one, because that is by far the cleanest TSM has played this year.
Yep. Individual lanes all doing well. DoubleLift, plenty of farm. The crowd behind them, it's good for these guys to end the week on a win. You've seen their losses before, a close battle against CLG, a close battle against Immortals. 2 wins in the squad as well. Hauntzer absolutely crushing his lane overall. Bjergsen's Braum helped, but then his one-on-one, just his game was on point. And that was, I think, what TSM wants to look like for the rest of their games.
I think so too. That is everyone being on the same page for TSM. On the side of Team Dignitas, definitely not a happy game. BillyBoss still looked uncomfortable. 0-6-0 on Gnar. Kirei, very low impact on Rek'Sai that game, despite his huge impact on Elise yesterday.
Yeah.